Welcome back to Steve's Small Engine Saloon.
Hey, look what we got. These are the coolest parts. I bet you all know what they're about.
I actually do know what the question is this time, so I'm getting prepped.
Oh, okay.
Giddy up, April. What's the question?
All right, are you ready for it?
You betcha.
Okay. This is a carburetor question, obviously. There is a cone-shaped spring in my carburetor. What does it do? And if I lose it, does it matter? I bet you it does.
So the only cone-shaped spring I can think of that's actually in a carburetor is this one right here. And take that fuel pump diaphragm off. Now, does that look like a cone-shaped spring to you?
Yeah, it sure does.
That's a cone-shaped spring right there.
Don't lose it.
Oh yeah, you drop that on the floor and it goes boing, you'll never find it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if
Okay.
you dropped it in this shop? Holy
Ooh,
smokes. It'd be
exactly.
lost forever.
Exactly. So what's that spring for? I will tell you this right now, that you will never see that cone-shaped spring in a carburetor that's on a two-stroke engine. You'll only find it on a four-stroke engine.
Huh.
You want to know why?
Well,
I'm going to tell you anyway, whether you want to know or not. So what do I got? Here's a two-stroke carburetor right here, two-stroke cylinder. Now, you see this little hole right here? That hole lines up with the carburetor when it goes on, with the hole in the side of the carburetor right there. So that matches that, goes on there. Now, what that does on a two-stroke carburetor, as the piston is going up and down on a two-stroke only, it creates a negative and a positive pulse. In other words, it is shooting air out of that hole and then sucking air back in and out like that. Positive, negative pulse. And what that's doing, when it's shooting in and out of your carburetor right there, it is taking that fuel pump diaphragm, the negative pulse, as the air is sucking into the engine, sucks that diaphragm down, and then the positive pulse pushes in, and then it pushes that up again. So what that does, as it's doing that, running on a two-stroke engine, it's fluttering that. It's moving up that diaphragm up and down really super fast, and that is what's pumping your fuel into the carburetor.
pure physics, right?
Yeah, don't get me started on physics. So on the four-stroke engine, okay, four-stroke engines do not have a pulse that's positive and negative. They only have the negative pulse. So on this four-stroke carb right here, if in the same thing, there's a hole on the side of there, and the four-stroke engine only provides a negative pulse. So in other words, it's just sucking in and in and in and in. And so what that does is it just holds that diaphragm down, and it never has the positive pulse to push that back up again to go down and create the pumping action to get your fuel in there. Okay, so that is why that spring is under there. I would say it's, how do you say it? It's mechanically simulating the positive pulse that the engine can't provide. Does that make sense? The spring itself is mechanically pushing it back up where the positive pulse can't do that. And then your fuel pump on your four-stroke carburetor is going to work like it should. Without that spring in there, you take that spring out, do it like a two-stroke carburetor, it's just going to hold that diaphragm down and it'll never come up. Your fuel pump will not work properly.
And again, that's specifically for four-stroke.
Yeah, you'll never see that on a two-stroke carburetor.
Cool.
Because there's no need for it. There's no need for that spring in there, but there is an actual need for it in a four-stroke carburetor.
So I don't lose that spring.
Yeah, definitely. If you see that spring in there and go, this doesn't need to be in there, and you go wing over your right shoulder, yeah, don't do that. Yeah, so there you go. Did I answer that question? Do you get it?
I get it.
You get it? All right. There you go. So to answer that guy's question, that's what that spring is for.
And don't lose it. Don't let it pop out and just go boing all over the place because
right.
good luck finding it.
I think that's it for me.
Awesome.
What do you got, April?
Thanks. You definitely got that. Very
I hope you
much
found this was informative.
Very much a physics lesson today.
Yeah.
Give Steve the thumbs up on that one, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget, check out last week's video. That was on what? A cracked mower deck. And if you want to come back and see the other ones, always go back to our channel and go to the Saloon Mail playlist, and you'll find all kinds of good stuff there. Or just peruse the channel.
Awesome. And till next week. We're going to do this again next week.
You betcha.
Right on. Till then, April and Steve out.
See you next week.